At the top of the show right now, 73% of you have a puppy as we speak. 13% don't, and 15% of you guys are getting one soon. This is the show for you. We're going to talk about some things. We've just finished the new puppy process. I mean, Five Alive is how old now?
7 months.
7 months old. So we've sort of made our way through the puppy training process. We've documented a lot of it, shared a lot of the videos, and action, entertainment, some of the things that we've done to make it through the puppy process. And this isn't our first rodeo. You know, we've had, how many puppies would you say you've had?
Ooh.
Like your own puppies?
Probably close to 20.
Yeah. Kayla's gone
maybe
through
over 20.
Yeah, you've gone through the puppy experience a lot
Many
before.
times with different breeds too.
That's right.
Which every experience is a little different than the last.
And every week, not only in our training facility, but in our online classes, we get to deal with hundreds of new puppy owners. So we've put together a list of the 7 things that puppy owners need to know. We're calling this our Puppy Owner's Guide. And if you got a puppy, maybe you're getting a puppy, this show
Let us guide you.
Is for you. I'm Ken Steepe.
I'm Kayl McCann.
Welcome back to McCann Dogs. Now, there are times, you know, when you're thinking about getting a puppy or when you first got a puppy, you just think of all the joy and the cuteness and the you know, how adorable they're going to be and all the training we're going to do, and they're going to be so great.
They are so adorable.
And sometimes it doesn't go to plan.
No.
You know, we've talked in several videos about the fact, maybe you could just turn that, air purifier off. We talked about the fact that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So we're all about preparing you for that new puppy experience, or, you know, maybe it's new dog owner experience. But I'll tell you, when you have some direction, makes a massive difference. And a lot of times it's avoiding some of the real big pitfalls. Maybe it's avoiding some of the huge myths about puppy ownership that can completely change your puppy training and make, you know, having a puppy just a way more enjoyable experience. Now, there might be times that you feel like, oh boy, I'm way in over my head. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well in today's show. Maybe you've arrived here on the live stream and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I really underestimated what this puppy was going to need. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some of the tools that you might need, some of the supplies that you might need to really give you the best experience with that puppy. Because, you know, puppy ownership is tough. In fact, some of our instructors, maybe a little bit about who we are. You know, maybe this is your first time here and you're like, who on earth are these two people? Well, I'm Ken Steepe. This is Kayl McCann. We're professional dog trainers at McCann Dogs. And McCann Dogs has helped more than 100,000 dog owners who are just like you to overcome the exact same training challenges that you have over the past 40 years. It's actually we're having our 40th year anniversary this year, which we're pretty excited about.
Very excited.
Kayl's family business. You grew up around dog training.
Yep.
And talk a little bit maybe about that, seeing new puppy owners, maybe like a perspective that you have. What's a common mistake that new puppy owners have, or, you know, common challenge that new puppy owners bring into our puppy program?
Yeah, well, first of all, most people come in and think that they just have the worst puppy in the world, and, you know, they have all these problems, and, you know, it just seems so surprising to them, and then they're often they relax a little bit when we show them that, you know, 10 other people in the room have the same problem. And we've even learned this through our online classes. We have students from over 58 countries at this point. Everybody asks the same question.
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the world, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, arid country, you know, some of the farther northern countries, north end of Canada, same problems.
Puppies all do the same thing, because when they come home, they're trying to figure out where they fit in and what the rules are and whether they should listen or not listen. You know, what they find rewarding. It's all sort of the same. So people always ask about nipping and biting, house training, crate training, stopping the dog from barking, how to integrate it into their family, how to get them to deal with other dogs, how to get them to stop chewing things in their house. All of those questions, because all the puppies sort of go through that phase if you don't know what to do. Now, not to say that our puppies don't do the same thing, but our puppies might do it once, maybe twice, because we have learned over the years proper management skills and a whole bunch of things we're actually going to go over with you tonight that set the puppy up for success. So we spend more time saying what a good puppy, what a good choice, I love you, you're so cute, rather than wanting to rip our hair out because you're making so many bad choices. So it's really about knowing what to do.
So much of our content is about setting the puppy up to be successful, and that is so important.
But people really don't know what that means.
They don't know, and that's why we do shows like this tonight to really help you to make great choices.
Sounds
for them.
like a wonderful phrase, but it's
right. It sounds that's easier said than
very
done.
specific ways to do it.
Yeah. So we're going to dive deeper into that in just a minute. Something I just thought about, and something we do almost every show, is we like to kind of have a sense of where you are in your understanding of our channel and maybe understanding of some of our training. So if this is your first time here in the train station, because in the train station we dive a little deeper. We have hundreds of videos here on YouTube that hopefully solve a lot of problems for you guys. But in the train station, we dive a little deeper, talk a little bit more about your dog and answer some of your questions. So let me know. Drop new in the chat. N-E-W. Drop new in the chat if this is your first time here in the train station.
Just in case you didn't know how to spell it.
That's right. Maybe you're French and you're going to type nouveau, N-O-U-V-E-A-U.
Or maybe you knew what to do.
Yeah. Okay. You can drop new with the K. I don't care. Go ahead. It's up to you. Let us know if you're new here. And Hillary Williams dropping the super chat. Keep our moderators keep an eye out for that question. Thank you for the super chat, Hillary. We'll get to your question in a moment. So for those of you guys who are new, we like to talk a little bit about some of the challenges you might be having, but we also have a show structure. I've been a professional dog trainer for about 15 years now, and at McCann Dogs, in our training facility, we help nearly 500 dog owners every single week, so we get to see a lot of dogs. Kayl has been doing this nearly her whole life,
long time.
So you've seen lots and lots of dogs, and a big, a factor in our effort is about training you. It's a lot easier for us. It's a lot easier to teach a dog, but what we need you to understand the why and the how, so that you can go from one of these shows and apply some of your training. So we've got a teaching plan. We're going to set things up for you over the course of tonight's show.
And one of the reasons why that's so important is that puppy training happens all of the time, as you'll hear when we start talking about stuff tonight. So, it's not as easy as sending your puppy off to be trained somewhere and then send it back from you and it's good as new. This is about you building a good relationship with your puppy, so your puppy actually wants to listen to you. They look forward to it. And puppy training is not just spend an hour a day training and then for the rest of the time just, let them do their puppy thing. That's not really how it works. The other thing I wanted to say before we go any further is I know we have a lot of people who have a puppy right now. What we sort of say as a puppy is like dogs that are like 6 months and under is what we refer to as a puppy. However, some of the content that we have, so if you have a dog that's over 7 months, don't go anywhere, because sometimes what happens is just because your puppy doesn't fall into the age category, you're going to hear us talk about problems and you're going to go, ooh, my dog does that, my dog does that, my dog does that. Yeah. So this is also about behavior. So we're really careful to put our suggestions into like age categories, because it really does differentiate between dogs and people and breeds and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's something to gain regardless of your dog's age, even though the title does say puppy today. It's way better when you do this when they're puppies, but the novelty is not lost as they get older.
Yeah, that is a big mistake that people make, is that they think they should be doing age-specific things for their dog. We do actually have a couple of videos on the channel that talk about a puppy training schedule, a dog training schedule, but that is to understand that you can start doing these exercises at this age.
Yeah.
But if you have a puppy, imagine you go to a new country and it's your first time there and someone speaks the language to you and you don't have the foggiest idea of what they're saying. It doesn't matter how much you've traveled. It doesn't matter how old you are. Your level of understanding of that new language is very basic. So if you have a 1-year-old dog and you've never worked on a specific skill, or you've never taught the foundation of something, a stay, let's say, or a recall, it's unreasonable to have any expectation of that dog. So it's not about the age, it's about the level of understanding.
How much training they've had.
That's right. And specifically, potty training is a very common problem that people have if they haven't made the right choices through puppyhood as they get into that adolescent dog age. And then they're like, well, I mean, he's 7 months old. I don't know why he's still peeing in the house.
It's because you never taught him not to.
That's right. Yeah, because you've missed some opportunities, some training opportunities that were really important.
Yeah.
I see some people are way ahead of us. It's not their first time at the train
Yeah.
station. They aren't new. They're mentioning where they're coming from. And one thing I love to do, we have 58 countries represented in our online training.
Yeah.
From all over the world, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And something I love doing during the show and after the show is checking out where some of you guys are joining us from. So where are you joining us in the train station here today? Where are you watching the show from? So in a moment, I can jump in and do our little romper room thing where I check in on some of those places. But let's get this out of the way quickly. The first thing that we want to talk about tonight, because having the right equipment is going to make a huge difference, and a lot of people just don't. Actually, you know what? Let's jump back. Hillary dropped a super chat. Let's go to the super chat first. Hillary, thank you for the super chat. Let's go to this, and then we can circle back around.
Okay.
Because I don't want to miss this.
I love a good circle back around.
Yeah. So do you treat for successful potty trips? I don't see that happening in your videos, which are terrific. Thanks. Very perceptive.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good
love
job,
this.
Hillary.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, we don't really yes and reward our dogs for successful potty trips.
Yeah.
There's a couple reasons why. The main reason is that some dogs will. Sometimes if they're very food motivated, they'll start to like phantom pee. So they'll like continually start asking to go outside because they put the chain of behaviors together. You go outside, I pee, you give me food. This is really great. And that's just all they want to do. Keep in mind when a dog goes to the bathroom, that's a self-reward. They, holding their bladder and they go and they think, that feels better. So you don't actually have to food reward them. There's lots of other rewards that we would do. We would certainly acknowledge the puppy. We would praise very genuinely and happily. We might clap our hands and play with the puppy for a little bit, let them chase us back and forth, do something fun, but it's just not something that you actually need to food reward your puppy for. You can give them the information in other ways.
Before we get into that, the rest of our shopping list, you guys are joining from all over the place. It's very cool. I see, let's see here, Coco's from the Philippines, Cynthia from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Norma Nelson says, in the same old chair in TO with my pup at my feet and wine in my hand.
Love it, Norma.
Absolutely, yeah. Ron's joining us from Boston. I see Greensville. Yvette from Jamaica, Connecticut. Alvord, Texas. Charlotte, North Carolina. Mr. Emma, 197 from Quebec. Georgia, Huntsville, Brazelton, Nova Scotia. Did I say that right, Debbie? Brazelton? Nova Scotia, North Carolina. Gabby's just joining us from Canada. It's a big place, and we're happy to have you here. We're also in Canada. Leah from Melbourne, Australia. Kay Spring from Samson, Alabama, Minnesota.
You missed Islam from Egypt.
Oh,
that's cool.
Islam, love you from Egypt. Thanks for joining us from Egypt. I see Dan the Moderator Man from the Moderation Station, 905. Studio 905. Wheezy from Lima, Chicago, Illinois. I saw a couple of our channel members are here too.
Yeah.
Christiana is here from Vancouver, BC, Canada, eh? Oh,
Canada, AAA.
Happy to have you here. We're excited to have you. Birmingham. And the list goes on. We're excited to have all of you guys. Now, let's talk about the shopping list. Let's talk about the things that... sorry. I want to go back to that peeing thing because I thought of something as you were talking about it. So this is an important point. We use a lot of food in our training, especially when our puppies are really young, because it's a resource that they naturally understand is valuable.
Yeah, and they want it.
But we don't want to be dependent on food forever. And in fact, our goal is to eventually wean off the food. So we're going to take advantage of situations where a puppy finds something naturally rewarding. Yeah. So going pee is a great example of that. You don't have to treat your puppy for going pee. It's naturally rewarding to them. And then you can engage them, So take, again, we use a lot of food at the beginning, but we don't want to have to use it for everything. So we're going to take advantage of those little moments when we don't have to use treats because the puppy just wants something, and getting something is reward enough. Yeah. Shopping list, number one thing. Oh, I actually, lots of links, Luton. Dan, the Moderator Man, made us.
Do you want to take that thing down off the screen?
Yeah, I will. Lots of links made us this thing.
It's beautiful.
Number one. So the 7 things you need. Let's talk about the shopping list. The number one thing, a collar for your puppy.
That's pretty obvious
I know,
one.
I know a lot of people will say like, well, I want to use a harness. What about a harness for my puppy? And let's talk for a moment about our thoughts on harnesses, and puppy.
Yeah, we like my favorite thing is the collar. I don't know why I get so excited about it. I got to choose the color.
Right.
It's like the color and the whole collar situation is like a big deal for me. But I get it on the puppy right away because if the breeder didn't have them wearing collars, which is something a lot of breeders do, which is awesome, they'll scratch at it a lot, and then a lot of people say, "Oh, he doesn't like it," and they take it off. Just leave it on.
Yeah.
They'll scratch for a couple days, and then they get really used to it. You just need to make sure that you check it regularly to make sure that you're making it bigger as the puppy gets older.
Yeah.
But in terms of the harness comment, excuse me, a lot of people will start off with harnesses to take all of the impact off their neck. And when you have a young puppy, there's really not a lot of circumstances where you really should be having the leash on and putting tension on the dog's collar at all, really. We're not taking young puppies for long walks. We're not, basically, our puppies have a collar on, and then they have like a little house line, which we'll get to in a second, and they just drag that around. So it's not really being pulled. There's no impact on the dog's collar. But the collar needs to be on because we need to be able to get a hold of the puppy or lift the puppy up or stop them from getting into mischief. And the harness is not a good option for that because you don't have control of the dog's head on a harness.
Yeah.
So some harnesses are okay for like really, really small breeds that are going to be like 10 pounds and under as they get older. But at that age, it's not a necessity. In fact, it will slow down your training process. So you should just go straight to the collar.
We have a handful of videos on the channel talking about nipping and biting. And to quickly get control of nipping and biting with your puppy, you want to be able to have some control of their head and their neck and head. So the collar is the best choice in that situation where the harness just doesn't provide that sort of control.
Yeah.
So number 1, the collar. Number 2, the leash. These ones are kind of obvious. I mean, we're just sort of like setting things up here. Number 3, a crate. We're going to talk about.
We do not take the collar off at night. We keep the collar on all of the time.
Yeah, that's a good question though. But we are certain that it's well fit.
Yes.
Having a slack collar on your little puppy is not a good idea.
Yeah,
so
and certain types of collars. So we don't put like martingales or any of the collars that have like the half chain, half nylon. It's just a normal flat buckle, even a tiny snap collar that is well fit, just snug enough that you can fit 2 fingers between their neck and the collar. And we are checking that every single day to make sure it's not too tight and it's not too loose, because that way if we have to take our puppy out in the middle of the night, anything like that, we're not struggling to get a collar on our puppies. We keep it on all of the time for safety reasons.
Yep. Oh, bless you. I thought maybe I could trick you into not sneezing if I said it first.
I thought it was
collar, leash, crate, which we're going to talk about. A crate can be a very valuable management tool. It can really help you out of a lot of situations. A bed. We always get our puppies a bed, and I mean, Kayl likes doing puppy shopping, and
I like a lot of puppy shopping.
Yeah, but
and I have all of the things for all of the dogs. Yet when I get a new puppy, they get all new things that are their things.
We have so much puppy stuff.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to know how many collars we have in this house.
With that said, we use the bed very early on. Actually, there's a couple of videos on the channel from 5 Alive, actually from even before 5 Alive, when 5 was home with us when we had 2 puppies. Remember that? You can see the puppy bed being used in that and why we'd use that. So you can check those videos out. We do use a bed early on in their training for some things that we might talk about in a bit. So, collar, leash, crate, bed, chew toy, like a normal chew toy. We use things like nylabone, or maybe not as much as the puppy. Things like Kong.
No, Nylabone actually has a lot of really great puppy versions.
Right. Yeah.
So Nylabone's a great brand, and it has different variations of bones. So there's like softer ones for puppies with like softer gums, and then you can get progressively firmer ones as they get a little bit older.
No, keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on your puppy. Keep an eye on those little bones, the little puppy bones, because your puppies can grow out of them pretty quickly.
Yeah, I tend to go to the firmer ones as soon as I possibly can, even after first couple weeks of having my puppies home, just because it's a little safer.
Yeah. So we talked about chew toy, an interactive toy. Now, what's an interactive toy, and why do we use them?
Yeah, so an interactive toy would be like something like a tug toy, or anything that's like fuzzy that has a squeaker in it, or anything like that. We call those interactive toys because they're not interactive solely with your dog. They're interactive with you and your puppy. And that's really important because those types of toys are usually ones that puppies really like to play with on their own, but typically they'll chew them apart, or they'll take the fuzz out, or they'll try to de-squeak it, or chew the eyeballs off, or
de-squeak it.
Yeah, whatever they want to do. And that can be really potentially very dangerous for your puppy because they could ingest things they're not supposed to. And you don't really want your puppy learning to chew on those types of things, just like you don't want them chewing on your shoes and other fabric type of objects. So it's great to have tug toys with your dogs. We always do. We love, we sell this really great puppy tug. It's like 4 feet long, and we use it for, teaching recall training and all kinds of stuff.
I'm not sure if they're in stock every time we mention them on stream.
We don't like them. They're awful. Wait till we get restocked.
It literally, I love our puppy tugs.
Yeah,
because they're so long and they're so fluffy, and like you can animate the tail with them so well. And Five loves them. Any dog loves them. I actually walked by a grade 2.
Five's favorite one is the fuzzy ball
tug. Yeah. I walked by a grade 2 the other day, and somebody had a puppy tug in there.
Oh,
and,
nice.
It was fun watching them play. Watching the dog play that.
Anyways, the reason why we have it is because it's a great way to, exercise your puppy playing tug. You can use it as a reward for things. But when we're done playing, we put it away. We don't let our puppies just play with those types of toys when they're out of their crate. We don't put them in their crate with them at all. If they want to chew on something, we'll make sure that we have those chew type of toys so that I know I could, put it in their crate and walk away, or I could put it in an area and not have to constantly be watching. I know that I'm providing them something that's safe, that's not going to hurt them.
Yeah, and you know what I love about the interactive toys, and it's something that you might not be thinking about. The great thing about an interactive toy is that the only time it's fun is with you.
Yeah.
So your puppy comes out of their kennel, they go outside for the pee, you bring them back in, and this toy becomes an extension of you. And it's fun because you get to play tug. They get to chase this, a wild flipping thing. And it's fun because you're involved. I love that about interactive toys, specifically like tug toys, like the puppy tug or anything like that, any tug toy. But you have to be there for it to be really fun.
Yeah.
And your puppy thinks, wow, this person's awesome. And this toy is so much fun.
Yeah.
So there's a great connection there.
I'll tell you a trick that we do with Five. Five has a ridiculous amount of chew bones. But what we typically will do with him is we'll give him like 1 or 2 or 3 different types of toys for like a couple days, and then you can see him starting to kind of slowly lose interest. So we'll pick those up, and then we'll put down like 2 or 3 different ones, and we'll give them for a couple days, and then I'll put the first 3 down again. And he's like, oh my God, I haven't seen that in 3 days. It's exciting. So you keep the puppy's interest.
Right,
so you don't actually need to have a kabillion things out for your puppy. Have a couple things. Make the selection actually smaller so it's easier for your dog to understand what's theirs and what's not. And then after a few days, pick them up, give them something else, and just keep rotating. And that will keep your puppy's interest a lot better than just going and buying new things.
Interactive toy treats. Picking the right treat for your puppy can be a bit of a challenge. So, we'll get a bunch of different little things, small amounts of little things. We'll also use things like kibble and food in their training. That's probably the majority of the treats. But having some treats on hand, believe me, and here's the trick. When we have a little puppy in the house, we'll have like some stashes of treats in different locations, so that when if the puppy makes a great choice in the living room, I know that I've got some treats on the living room table or somewhere, or in the kitchen.
Not just free, like they're in containers.
That's right, yeah, so that we can get them, but the puppy can't.
Yeah.
So we'll always have some treats on our island. We have an island in our kitchen at home, and we'll have some treats available on the counter. So if the puppy comes up and just sits, or if the puppy goes and lies on their bed, or does something that we want them to feel the reward for, we'll go reward them for that. They'll
we're
be
ready
available
to reward
very
them
quickly.
for it.
Absolutely. And, capturing those moments can be so valuable because your puppy starts to make more of those choices.
Totally.
And food, understanding maybe it's from your breeder or from wherever you're getting your puppy from. Hopefully they come along with either food suggestion, what they've been fed, or some of their food. So you need to understand that your shopping list can be an important thing as you move along. Oh, I think lots of links, Luton. Yeah, we're out of puppy tugs, unfortunately. I don't know if you guys just...
We should be getting more soon.
Good. Okay, I see Norma Nelson. Drop a super chat.
Norma has actually done something really kind.
Okay.
So the username Love Y'all has asked a question, and Norma has used a super chat to ask her question for her.
That's so nice, Norma.
That is so Norma. I know, Norma. You're so
that's
sweet.
great. And Christiana, Thanks for the super sticker.
Thank you.
So Norma Nelson for Love Y'all asks a question. I love y'all. I'm in high school and trying to convince my parents to let me get a red heeler border collie mix. Parents have concerns. Any advice?
Okay. Well, I'm going to be straight up with you. Love y'all. That's quite the mix. And it really depends on the amount of time and effort and dedication you're going to have to training the dog. Both of those breeds are super high energy. They need to work. They need a lot of mental and physical stimulation. So in order to be successful with, herding breeds like that, you need to make sure that you're giving the dog ample exercise and that you are training it regularly, because a lot of those dogs, because they're really seeking stuff to do, they can entertain themselves so quickly. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean, they find things to chase, and it's typically things that you don't want them to. You might get a bit more nipping and biting. You might get a little bit more like high energy. Blue heelers are bred to, be very tough, to, herd cows and cattle. They're a very tough breed. And border collies are usually pretty crazy. We have many border collies, but they are a little bit high-minded. So I'm not saying it's not a good idea, but I am saying that I understand your parents' concerns. It's very different than asking for a golden retriever. So it is going to take a lot of work and effort. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I just want you to know that if you decide that you want that, you can have a ton of fun. A very energetic, willing dog that probably wants to do a lot of fun stuff. But you need the time and the dedication, and you need to make sure that you're getting really good training and getting good a good solid foundation, because it could go south quickly.
Yeah, well, in understanding, I mean, nights like tonight, like having a plan. I love the fact that
you're here.
Yeah, you're in here, you're asking these questions, and setting yourself up so that you've got all the information that you could possibly could need before you get into your initial training experience. That's really important. So I love the steps that you're taking, and I love Norma Nelson for doing that.
That's really sweet.
Super chat. That was very cool. Next thing we need to talk about when it comes to the 7 things that puppy owners need to know is taking advantage of a collar, as Kayl mentioned, and a house line. So many people say, and this was game changer for me when I was a student too. I just didn't understand the value of it. But what is a house line? Why would we use it with a puppy?
It's such a simple thing, and so many people are so shocked by it. They think that leashes are just for taking your dog for a walk.
Right. And
really, that's like a very small portion of what we use a leash for. So a house line is basically a light short leash that we attach to the puppy's collar whenever they're out of their crate. And when I say whenever, I mean 24/7. I mean every single second that they are out of their crate, there is some type of leash or line attached to their collar. And the reason why we do this, there's many reasons, but some of the more important reasons are when we're puppy training, we do not want to be chasing and grabbing at the actual puppy if they're making mistakes. So if they pick up something and put it in their mouth, I don't want to chase after the puppy and try to grab them and pull it out of their mouth. Some puppies will perceive that as a game. Some puppies will be scared by that. Some puppies will just learn to avoid their humans and run faster and dodge and really turn into a big brat. Not because they're a brat, but because the human has trained them how to respond to those things. So if my puppy grabs something and I don't want them to, I just calmly walk over and I step on the line, and the dog says, she's going to take that from me. They go to run away, they get about 2 feet, and they go, right. Well, that wasn't fun. I don't get to go anywhere, and I can calmly take the item from them. I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. I don't have to do anything crazy. I can calmly get control. And every time my puppy does something naughty, like stealing the tea towel off of the stove or whatever the situation is, if I can stop them within moments of that bad behavior happening calmly and effectively, suddenly those bad behaviors stop happening. They've happened less often, and because the puppy's not really having success doing those things. The house line can also stop my puppy from jumping up on people. They can stop my puppy from, counter surfing. They can stop my puppy from all kinds of things. If I think they have to go pee and they're trying to find a spot somewhere in the house and they're not supposed to, I can just step on the house line and get control. So it's shocking how much you're going to use the house line.
Now, we have published a video recently that talks about the house line, some specifics about the house line, and people always say, well, my puppy just thinks it's a toy. It's dragging around so they'll chew on it.
Yeah.
Really common. But here's the thing about house lines. Kayl mentioned that the puppy goes on a house line anytime they're out of their crate. But you're also supervising them. So you see these
the house line
things
doesn't
happen.
magically train your dog when you're not paying attention.
It's an extension of your arm.
That would be nice.
It's a management tool to give you better timing, and that's exactly what you need at this point. So anytime your puppy comes out of their crate, anytime that house line's on, you're supervising them, you're watching them, and in that video that I just talked about with the house line, when the puppy starts to chew on the house line, you mark them with hey, and then you take the house line out of their mouth and give them something to chew, and your puppy just starts to learn this is
like a nylon bone.
Or whatever that chew toy is, and your puppy just starts to learn. Well, this isn't much fun.
Every time I chew on this, I don't really get to do it. I'm given something different.
This is not
Remember earlier too, I said just put the collar on, put it on all the time, and they sort of get over it. The same thing happens with the house line. That it is exciting. 5 was very excited by the house line when I first put it on when he came home. He was like, what is this dangly thing? He dragging behind me. It just seems like a fun thing to play with. But I used it so often that it was like a couple days, and then it just became an extension of his body. And he really didn't worry about it very much anymore. And I would just interrupt him and then give him something else, because he's never unsupervised. He's never doing his own thing, chewing away on the house line for several minutes before I notice. That's not happening because he's never out of my eyesight for more than just a moment.
And this is crucial. This is so important for your puppy training. The amount of puppy problems people run into happen when they're not looking or when they're distracted.
Lack of supervision.
Absolutely. Supervision is so important for your puppy training. So, if your puppy's having accidents in the house and you're not seeing it, that's not their fault, that's your fault. Because they need to learn that it's not okay. Like, hey, stop that, or whatever you do. We have lots of potty training videos on the channel. If it's happening, if something feels good and they don't get information, then they think that's the right thing. Remember, in an absence of information, your puppy's just going to do what feels good, what tastes good. So you have to be there to give them information for things like that. So supervision is so important, and it can eliminate a bunch of your puppy training problems. That's why we know the house line can be such a valuable tool, and it just gives you the control that you need. Shandy Blake, $20 super sticker. Thank you, Shandy.
Toots and kisses. I bet you haven't got that at the same time.
No, that'd be weird. This is the live stream with Shandy. The most toots. I see Leah K asked us a question also. Leah K, thoughts on using a harness in the car? So I need. Yeah, I should disclose that outside of being a dog trainer for the past 15 years, I've been a firefighter for almost 25 years, and I will tell you that it is really very important to have control of your dog inside your vehicle. Now, I can't speak to a harness. I mean, there's a million different options out there, but what I do know, I also worked as a paramedic for 10 years. While I was working on my days off as a firefighter, I work as a paramedic. And I've been to countless, probably for sure hundreds, maybe more than 1,000 motor vehicle collisions, car accidents involving people, sometimes pets, unfortunately. But you want your dog to be restrained or controlled or somehow protected in the event of a motor vehicle collision. So maybe a harness is the right option. I know not long ago there was this big study that talked about all these harnesses and would they protect your pet in the event of crash. I think a lot of them failed. I don't know the specifics of it, but I'll tell you what I do and what I think is way better, having the experience that I just talked about, is having my dog in a crate. Because it provides an extra layer of protection. It's not often, but it happens, especially with today's car technology. It's not often that there's intrusion into the passenger compartment. It's not often anymore that there's, the space squishes, but it does happen. So if you can provide an extra layer of protection, then you should, if you can. It's just that extra level of safety. So having your dog on a harness in the car might take a little bit of training to keep them from fussing with it or chewing on the seat belt or the harness. if you can, choose a crate. But a harness is another option that can restrain the pet and keep them.
A plastic crate.
Yeah.
Not a wire crate.
Yeah, yeah. So those are my thoughts on that. It's a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's the best option. I also saw another super chat in here from Brad Arth. Brad says, we are having a lot of trouble with crate whining. Let's talk a little bit about that. We do have a video on the channel. Brad, when we talk about crate barking, we have a couple videos on the channel that talk about crate barking. Yeah. Crate whining is the same thing.
We deal with it the same way.
Same treatment, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really struggled with crate whining with my dog Deegan when I first got into dog training, and she wasn't a puppy anymore. But some of the tips that Kayl's going to talk about in a moment are the things that I did, and also frequency of crate use is probably going to be something we talk about.
Yeah, and it is hard to give you the perfect answer, Brad, because there's a lot of reasons why puppies will whine. It could be that they just are irritated and they don't want to be in there. It could be that they're anxious that they can't see you. There's lots of things. And sometimes, depending on the reason behind it, you might switch your tactics a little bit. And hopefully, if you check out this video, we do talk about a bunch of the different, if this is why, this is what you need to do for it. But I'll just give you some general tips to start us off. Like Ken said, frequency of being in the crate when they're young is really important. If you're only using the crate for situations like when you go to bed or when you leave the house and then the puppy is out of their crate for the rest of the time. If you go to having your puppy have all of this freedom and then you're putting the puppy away just for a few, moments in time during the day, a lot of puppies will whine because they're used to having freedom and they can't really understand why you're taking it away. So if you're using the crate on a more frequent basis, for sometimes just a couple minutes. Like if I have a young dog that's in training that I need to be supervising, if I have a shower, he goes in his crate. If I'm making dinner and I'm like multitasking, he's in his crate. If we want to sit and watch a movie and I don't really want to supervise a puppy, he's in his crate. So they're in their crate in and out all day long. Second to that is that some puppies will start to get anxious or unsure if every time they go in the crate, you disappear, you go to bed, or you leave the house. Yeah. The puppy starts to put two and two together, and then they start saying, I don't really like going in there because you leave when that happens. And then we can make it worse by coming in and going, it's okay. And the puppy goes, oh, thank God I can see you.
Yeah,
this
and you're
is
like,
great.
Oh, okay, they're quiet now. That worked. And
then we end up making our situation worse because when the dog whines, we go and we interact with them, soothe them, and then the puppy says, yay, this is all I ever wanted. So you need to be careful about that. I would definitely suggest that you try to build more value for the crate with your dog. Maybe having them eat their meals in the crate with the door closed. Maybe practicing throwing some cookies into the back of the crate. Just play some fun little games where the puppy can go in and out, making it a more positive experience. Maybe consider where the crate is located and play around with that to see if there's a spot that the puppy is more comfortable. So there's a bunch of things off the bat.
Yeah.
But check out that video because I think it's going to give you a ton of suggestions.
The other thing, Brad, and this is a really common misconception or people just kind of overlook the fact that crate training is training. You need to put in a little extra effort. The third thing on our list, 7 things you need to know, is why a crate is useful. Yeah. And the fact that it is the number one best way to manage your puppy when you can't supervise them. Yeah. It keeps them out of trouble. It keeps them from having accidents. They're less likely to have accidents if they have a limited space area that they're in. So if you're struggling with things like barking at the window or peeing in the house or chewing on this or that, number one, you know exactly where they are. I'm going to talk about a couple of different layers to this. I think you guys are good for this. Train station, we get a little deeper. So not only is it a great space to manage your dog, it gives them their own space where they can feel safe. So in the future, if maybe it's like a rumbling thunderstorm or something like that, you've built all this value for this space, you cover it with a blanket or something, they know this is a safe place where they've been fed, they've been rewarded, they know is comfortable and safe. It also, maybe it gets them away from the rest of the family. This is something people often overlook. You have company over and the puppy's like, oh man, this is a lot. Like there's a lot of people. I'm a little stressed. I'm kind of tired. And they just want a place to like chill out. Yeah. Crate is a great place to do that. A couple super chats. I'm going to come back to those. The other thing, and this is the thing that I not only saw as a dog owner when I first became a trainer, but like throughout my apprenticeship with McCann dogs and as I started teaching people, a key to the crate is that when you're using a crate appropriately, every single time your puppy or dog comes out of their crate, you're there. So you become the most important thing in the world. They are so excited to see you. Every time they come out, you're there to do stuff with them. You're going to do training. You're going to have snuggles. You're going to have go take them out for a pee or whatever. You are the absolute best thing in the world. And the puppy or the young dog starts to default to understanding that. They look to you for information more often. They look to you because you've provided all of this reward and all of this, value in the world. They haven't had 3 hours to just do laps around the kitchen and chew on whatever they want. They come out of that crate and you are there. That's why you got a dog, because you wanted that relationship. If you want to speed up that relationship, use a crate. So let's jump to this super chat. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that
There's
one.
one. Sabrina's is first, I think.
Okay, Sabrina. Let me see this. Sabrina. Okay, Sabrina asks, is there a schedule you'd follow for how long to lock the crate while training? So how often would you use the crate, I guess, is kind of the question. Oh, you know what I think she might be asking is, like, it sounds like maybe she's got the door open some of the time.
Maybe.
So maybe we'll speak to that as well.
Yeah, so we'll cover a couple of things. Just if you want to clarify in the chat, we'll sort of keep our eye on it, Sabrina, and our moderators will let us know.
Yeah, you're good. Go sorry.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were pointing me at something.
No.
So if, first of all, with the door open, door shut thing, when we're crate training our puppies, we always have the crate door shut while the puppies are in it. So we don't, unless we're actually actively practicing like a little fun little game with the crate where they go in and get treats and come out and go in and get treats and come out, we'll keep the door open to play that little exercise with them. But other than that, if they're in the crate, the door is always closed, right from the very first day that they come home, so that they just don't know any different, because it actually makes crate training go a lot faster. So I'll cover that. In terms of how long you should keep the puppy in the crate for, that is such a difficult question to answer because it entirely depends. But I will tell you this. If your puppy has gone to the bathroom, if your puppy has been adequately exercised both physically and mentally, there's no reason why they can't go into the crate for hours.
They're probably
at a time.
ready for it.
Yeah, and we would recommend that. So if I know, like, for example, we're on the live stream right now. We have a 7-month-old puppy, and he's going to be in his crate now for a couple hours while we do this, and takes us a while. Yeah, takes us a while to be here. So he's in there for a couple hours. So before this, I took him on a big walk, and I did some agility training with him, and I did a few things with him. So he is probably upside down, passed out up there for a couple hours. So I know he's in there for a couple hours. And adequately do something with him before he goes in. So it really just depends. They can be in for a couple minutes, and if they can go 6, 7, 8 hours overnight. They could also do that during the day, but it also just depends on how house trained is your puppy. Do they know to hold their bladder?
How much exercise did you give them before?
Did they have a big drink? Like, how old are they? Like, a 10-week-old puppy isn't going to be able to stay in their crate as long as a 16-week-old puppy, for example. So there's all these variations. This is why I love our Puppy Essentials course so well. When we talk to our students,
we can say specifically your puppy.
Yeah, we get to know your puppies, and then we can say, okay, your puppy's this, and this is exactly what you need. But that just gives you some general ideas, but it can be hours at a time, provided you set them up to be comfortable for that in the first place.
Yeah. CK White, puppy sometimes doesn't want to come out of the crate like he's scared. What do I do in that moment? So this is a tough question to answer because I don't really, it's hard to know what's happened before. We for the most part, we stay away from addressing fearful training because we want to give you the best information possible. And to give you the best information possible, I need to know several things about the situation.
We have to handle it very carefully to make sure the puppy
gets the best information. We don't make it worse. But in this instance, if your puppy looks like he's scared, then he might be. If you can't coax him out with, motion or maybe a treat or something like that, then there might be a time when you just have to pick up your puppy and then maybe you need to take them outside or something like that. But I want you to be thinking about what is the trigger? What is causing this behavior? Is it a bad environment? Maybe the puppy's in a loud area or something, a noisy area where he's a little bit fearful, or is the puppy just you've built a bunch of value, and the puppy's just like, this is pretty good in here. I can't think of a reason why your puppy would want to stay in their crate, especially if they've been in there for a couple hours.
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Sometimes because puppies are in a crate, if we're leaning over the crate to like bring them out, there's some puppies that are very sensitive to pressure.
Yeah.
So body pressure. So, you could also make sure that you're not leaning in over top of them in the crate. Like make sure you are moving to the side to make the door like really open.
That's a good point.
You could also reach in and hook a leash on and then just give them a couple little gentle pulls on the leash just to kind of get them going. Once they get up, woo, look at you! Like make it really light and happy and fun for them to come out. And then I mentioned those puppy
games.
Reward extra games in the crate for going in.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you could do it for coming out. Or
Yeah.
I don't know why I just said Chris. I don't know why I did it. I don't think your name's Chris. Something
Maybe
CK White. And my brain just went
wouldn't
for
it be
Chris.
interesting? Let us know if your name is Chris.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyways,
Kayl's a psychic.
So
I'm just saying.
I don't know why I said that.
There's a chance.
Anyways, you could do the opposite. So every time puppy comes out, we throw some. I always call them Scrabbles, but you put like
Throw some Scrabbles in there.
yeah,
Hey,
put,
why don't you play some Scrabbles?
Throw a handful of kibbles down on the floor and let your puppy have it. So make it a fun thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't envision CK White creating that kind of pressure, but puppies are very sensitive.
Very
to that.
sensitive
Whether
to
it's
that.
like sit luring or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe you're creating a little bit too much pressure. That's a good point. Thank you for
Thanks,
the super chat. Christian B, how much time should I be spending with my 15 weeks black lab when they're awake? How much time is spent when they're not playing?
People want to know
or training
numbers.
with you. Yeah, they do. And this is, if you guys take nothing else away, understand that this is very dynamic, depending on your puppy, depending on the level of engagement, the level of exercise, the level of mental stimulation. Humans are so rigid.
We need to know from this time to this time, what am I supposed to do? And from this age to this age, what am I supposed to do? And dog training just doesn't work that way.
That's right.
There are 15-week-old black labs that have energy out the wazoo, and you have to do more of them. There are some lazy 15-week-old puppies that are like, oh my God, 5 minutes and I'm so done. So it really just depends on the puppy. What you need to do is read your puppy. Look at them, look at their body language, and decide, wow, we still have energy to burn there, or my puppy looks pretty satisfied, pretty relaxed.
Sure.
And that'll give you an idea of how much time you're spending, how much time you should be spending. How much time should I be spending with my puppy while they're awake? Time spent when they're not playing or training with you. So you should be spending lots of short periods of time, many times throughout the day. So to give you guys are we talking about a schedule at all?
Not really.
Okay, well, I'll just do it quickly.
Yeah.
So basically with our puppies, this is what a day in a life of our puppies look like. We get up in the morning, we go outside for a pee, we come in, we do 5 or 10 minutes of training with their breakfast, and we'll do maybe a little bit of tug and play, and then we'll put them in their crate for a couple hours while we do work. And then we'll go and get them out again, and we'll do a little bit of training, a little bit of play, do some stuff, tire them out, take them out for a bathroom break, put them in their crate, go and do other things. Then we get them out later. So 4 or 5 times throughout the day, we take puppy out, we do things with them, and then we put puppy away. That is what their life looks like for the first little while. We don't have a ton of time where the puppy's out just doing whatever they want to do. If they're out and having free time, sometimes we would let 5 when he was younger, sit with us when we would watch a movie, but I would have him with me on a leash and chewing a bone.
Absolutely.
So doing something productive, not just off doing his own thing.
Yeah, and this is how you...
And sometimes he was annoying, and we would just put him in the crate so we could relax.
Yeah.
But as he got more trained and he started to listen a little bit more, now he spends way more time out of his crate because he has some skills.
Yeah.
He can go and lie down on a bed when we tell him to. And all of the time when he was out of his crate and I was doing something with him, well, I'm training him how to be a good dog.
And have an off switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, your puppy's learning 100% of the time, whether you're giving them good information or not. So set things up so that you're giving your puppy great information all of the time. And maybe part of that is just hanging out, cuddling while they chew on a bone. They're with you, they're in contact with you, but they're also learning okay, I can just chill out here. We would sit on the floor with 5 on his bed. We just sit there and just hang out.
Engage with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So Christian B said, for context, we spend the entire time up supervising the puppy, which is great.
Good.
Very important. So just trying to figure out what a good balance is. And I think you answered that question pretty well. So, that the amount of time that the puppy is just being a puppy is, mixed in there, but it's supervised time.
Yeah.
Always.
I would say from my experience with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of students is most people do not put their puppies in the crate enough.
Yeah.
They're spending
Yeah.
too much time with the puppies, so much so that the puppies sometimes get overtired and then you start getting, problems from there. So just short periods of time, in and out all day long is the best bet.
Okay, Liz Da Silva, we're going to get to your question in just a second, but I need to talk about this next point. The amount of people that think that they bring a new puppy home and they're like, well, in a couple of weeks, we're going to start the house training process. So, I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll tell you, and we've shown it on several puppy series here on the channel, the first day your puppy comes home is the first day of their house training.
Yeah.
You can start house training your puppy the very first hour that they're home. And the way you're going to do that is supervise them really closely. You're going to have a great schedule. And at first, after a play session, after a nap, before they go into their crate, anytime they come out of their crate, after they have a meal, or anytime you're just not sure, like, I wonder if this puppy needs to go out for a pee, take them outside. Because what we don't want to do is allow them to make the mistake, learn that it's way better to just have a pee in the kitchen or in the living room where it's, you're indoors and it's not snowing or windy or rainy or sunny or wherever you live. Indoors is easier. You don't want your puppy to learn that. So you're going to have a really, not rigid, a quick, short schedule anytime your puppy's out of the crate for the first little bit. But it starts day one. Your puppy, these tiny little bladders. So your puppy has a drink, well, better head outside.
Exercise, people don't miss that one a lot.
Oh, that's a huge one, yeah.
If you play with your puppy or they've been moving around a lot, that usually, promotes them having to go to the bathroom. And lots of puppies will have accidents after they've had a lot of physical activity. So that's another time you need to get them outside.
Yeah, but this whole process is all about creating a situation where your puppy's not going to be making those mistakes. And if they do, which is part of the training process, if they do, you're there to mark it, like, oh, hey, don't do that. Whatever. Use some words to be like to mark that moment, and then take them outside. But it starts the day your puppy comes home, and people might say like, well, I don't take my puppy outside. We go to a pad. Same rules apply. If I say we take our puppy outside, we have the ability to do that. Maybe for you that means take your puppy to the pad. The other thing that I just thought of, because I've seen so many questions on this topic and heard so many questions on this. Anytime your puppy goes out for a pee, they're on a leash. You're out there with them, helping them to be successful, not to get too distracted. Anytime you take your puppy to the pad, they're on a leash. You need to control this experience for them so that they don't get distracted and start chewing on stuff and then forget that they have to pee altogether. They see a leaf blow by and they're like, ooh, that was interesting, and forget they have to go. You bring them back inside and your puppy has an accident. That's not their fault, that's your fault. So make sure you're controlling that situation by taking them out on a leash.
Yeah, I just have a comment to say about house training, and this also goes back to the crate training. I think somebody asked about this, is, you want to have a schedule for your puppy because that really makes them learn things faster. But also keep in mind that puppies really memorize schedules. So you also at some point need to break the schedule and start pushing more time between how long. Like some people actually have house training problems because they deliberately take their puppy out every 20 minutes or every 2 hours.
Every morning at 2 or something.
And that's just not necessary. And unless you want to continue that schedule for your dog's life, it's okay to go 4 hours. If they're sleeping, don't wake them up to go outside. Let them sleep. Try to push towards longer periods of time. You want to have a schedule, but you don't want to have a crazy rigid schedule, because otherwise the puppy will start being like, I need this thing at this time, and then now you're sort of stuck having to be that way. So you kind of have to use your gut on how you're going to do that, but try not to be too rigid, because it will actually hurt you, not help you.
This one's really important. Dan, can you drop a link for I forget what it is, like first night home with your new puppy, and how we set 5 up for that perfect first night where you actually slept through the night? A lot of people don't believe that it's possible, but I've seen it time and time again. Believe me, it's possible. You just need to start setting things up a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's what
it's
you
not
do
about
before
bedtime. That's right. Yeah, it's not just about bedtime.
Yeah, and actually we have a couple really good videos. We actually put a camera in our kitchen, and we were able to catch on camera the very first time 5 asked to go outside. Yeah. And it was very subtle. Oh, I forget what video it is.
What an amazing.
You probably know, but anyways, that would be a really cool one if you're wondering about house training. You can really see him. He was really really young. He was probably only maybe 10 or 11 weeks old, maybe 12 weeks old. I can't remember. But anyways, you can see him go through the process of figuring out how to get my attention to take him outside. So that would be a cool thing for you to see.
Nipping and biting. So many. Oh, wait, you know what? Let's get to, we're going to get to nipping and biting in just a moment. But I saw Mary H. Welcome back, Mary H. Dropping the super sticker. We have a couple super chats we need to get through. Liz De Silva asks, I have a one-year-old Aussie Doodle and getting a new pup soon. How long should I keep them apart and build and maintain relationship with each? I love that you asked this question, Liz. So many people don't see this. This is great.
They want them to be friends.
Right. This is so good. I love the fact that you're thinking like this. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's really good. When you have a puppy, you do want to keep them separated a lot so that, the older dog, not very old, only a year-old's not very old at all, but that way they... number one, aren't getting too attached to each other, and then now you become less important. And number two, you don't want that puppy irritating the older dog and then that messing up their relationship. Yeah. So what we did with Five is for the first, I would say 6 months or so, we kept him pretty separate. But as he started to get more skills, like being able to stay on a bed, respond to his name, do a sit stay, do a down stay, those types of things, know the leave it command, I would purposely bring him around my other dogs while he was on leash, and I had my treats and my tug toy, everything ready, and I would use my other dogs as a bit of a distraction to teach him to leave it alone. So I don't allow him to go and take their bones or steal their beds or jump on their head or whatever it is or bother them. I have him on leash, and I'm training him to understand that, you can check them out, but don't be irritating, so that everybody can learn to be in peace. So I would suggest that you do the same thing. It's not that you have to isolate them completely. It just means that you're not letting them go. Like I didn't let him go and play with my other dogs for hours to tire him out. I never let him do that. I would let him be around the other dogs, but it was controlled. So he was learning how to interact with them. And because of that, all of our other dogs have accepted him without any issues because they know that I'm going to keep the peace. I'm not going to let him bug them. So that's what I would suggest.
Well, and here's the thing, when you start testing or you start training through some of these situations, you are testing their response to name. Yeah. If it doesn't go well, then they just don't get that opportunity again until you get some reliability in your training. Mm-hmm. I love that she was thinking that. Yeah. Real Turban Tray, 14-month MAS recall was good, but now knows when off-leash and selectively returns. Resources have always been controlled, amazing in the crate, and firmly knows the here command, how to build a no options recall.
What does MAS mean?
I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Okay.
Maybe mention it in the chat.
Yeah. Let me know what that means. If that's like a...
So being leash aware or line aware.
Mm-hmm. So when they're off leash and selectively returns, it's sort of an easy answer, really. It's that we need to make sure that we're not giving the dog so much selection by letting them be off leash. So for us, off leash, what's the word I'm looking for?
Control?
Nope.
Off leash opportunities?
Nope.
Off leash locations?
No. Like you give them the ability to be off leash because
they've
earned it.
It's only earned.
What's the word? Capabilities? No.
Opportunities.
Oh my God, I can't remember. I'm gonna think of it like...
I know what you mean now. Yeah, off leash.
Luxury, like...
not luxury, but yes.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah, basically, if we're gonna give them the ability to be off leash, we've done that because they've earned it. Yeah, I thought it might be Mastiff as well, but you can let us know whether we mean... sure. Miniature Australian Shepherd. Robbie. Oh, okay. Robbie for the win. Yeah. Yay. I was like, Mass. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an unusual.
Got it. Okay. Now that we've cleared that up. Yeah, so we want to take the option away, and we want to make sure that we go back to... Now, again, I don't know how you originally trained your recall, but or if you're a student with us and you've used a long line, but that's what we do. We train with a long leash. So just like we talked about the house line inside the house, we use a long line, a long leash when we're outside the house, so that when we call our dogs to come, we can ensure that they turn and respond every time by using the line to assist them. And once the dog has shown us to have really great reliability, we have a whole process in which we teach this, then we would start to wean off of privilege. Shandy for the win. Yes, it's privilege. Yeah, it is privileges. That's what I was looking for. Good girl. Anyways. I'm not quite done. Are you? Are you going to add? Go
no,
for it.
I was just thinking about the fact that the dog is leash aware, and some mistakes that people make if they are using a line, like there's an off leash.
The dog's off leash and not listening.
Always not listening. Yeah, the dog needs to go on a line.
Selectively not listening.
Oh, I see. Okay, I thought it was like selectively.
No.
Okay.
He knows when he's off leash and selectively returns. So you need to take the off leash option. I know where you're going though, and that's really good.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Kayl. That's where I was going.
So no off leash. But when the dog is on leash, dog needs to think it's off leash.
That's right, exactly.
And that's where you were going.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, it's really important. Miniature Australian Shepherd. Perfect, I'm glad. When your dog is on leash, then you need to make sure that the dog feels like it's off leash by making sure that line or leash has no tension in it when you're calling the dog. Because sometimes, or you have good timing, sometimes what happens is we use the leash or the line to assist the dog, and that line's always tight or even a little bit tight. There's tension. And the dog goes, okay, I can feel that I'm on leash. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
So it's really important that when you're training, you keep that line or leash loose so that it feels like it's off, so that you can follow through. It's really important that you're not overusing the line while it's on, so that the dog is starting to learn when it's there and when it's not.
Nipping prevention. Now, the first few weeks, first few days specifically home, your puppy's experience has been with their litter mates. So the way that they play and have fun is nipping and biting and chewing on one another, but then they come into your household and they think that it's time to nip and bite and chew on you. So one of the challenges that a lot of people have is they don't know how to stop this behavior. And I'll tell you, in the first couple of days, there's not much we do for it. In fact, we talk about the first day home with your new puppy. We are focused on nipping and biting prevention and some of the things that you need to do so that your puppy isn't latching on. Those little puppy needle teeth are really sharp.
They hurt.
So what are the good leadership choices that we're making to set the dogs up to not choose biting?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one is if you start to recognize the situations where your dog is more apt to nip or bite you, that could be things like hooking their leash off and on. That could be doing handling exercises where you're trying to look in their mouth or clip their toenails or physically move them around or take control of them. Those are really common situations. Or maybe when they're really excited and they want to play. These are common situations where puppies will tend to do more nipping and biting. So if you start to recognize those things, you can teach your puppy to do something instead. So I might teach my puppy to, accept me holding their paws by practicing holding their paws and rewarding them on a regular basis, or teaching them to sit calmly with some treats as I hook the leash on. Preventing those situations from happening by replacing them with something that I want my puppy to do instead. So many people don't do that. They put their puppy into a situation where the puppy is really easy to bite, like playing and wrestling with them down on the floor, and then they wonder why they've latched onto your ponytail. Well, why are you wrestling around the dog on the floor in the first place?
And why do you have a ponytail?
Well, how can you not? You're having the puppy up on the couch, like up at your face. Like often we think, well, they nip my nose. Why is your puppy near your face? So there's lots of situations where you can make better choices to set your puppy up for success by showing them what they should do differently. And again, our whole training is, yes, we can show you how to correct nipping and biting for sure, but better yet, we'll show you how to set the dog up so they don't even want to do it in the first place. Like, I think I've gotten after 5 for nipping and biting maybe twice in his entire span of being home. And they were both accidents.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't even doing it purposely. He was just being like kind of a bit messy with his hand. But because I have such strong leadership and training and management, he so much views me as his leader and as someone that he wants to look up to and listen to, that he wouldn't dare put his teeth on me, because he sees me here and he knows he's here, but I do it in a really fun and
it's not about being a ruler.
Non-crazy way, and that's what a lot of people miss out on.
For sure. We actually have a handful of videos on the channel specifically talking about leadership and nipping and biting, leadership choices that are good for you if you have a puppy at home and you're like, man, this guy's got sharp little teeth and I can't stop him from nipping and biting. I'll tell you, we have tons of resources here on the channel. The biggest mistake that people make with a puppy biting problem, might be called something like that, will be good for you if you are struggling with that right now. Super chat from Whine 23. Not only a great YouTube name, Also got a great question. Thank you for the super chat. What do you think would be a good dog breed for for someone who's visually impaired? Because I'm scared I might fail at being a pet owner because of my vision.
I mean, it's a hard one.
Yeah, this is a pretty challenging question. It would be good to know, like, what are your requirements?
Yeah, this is a bigger question, but I'm going to tell you a couple things. It's really not specifically, there's going to be some breeds that will probably be better than others, but really it's going to be the personality of dog inside that breed. Because you could get, golden retrievers or a lab or some of these like happy-go-lucky dogs for the most part. In a litter of 8 puppies, well, those 8 puppies can be entirely different from one another. Yep. So it really is going to be for you. You need to really be, thinking about the exercise, the size, all of the same things everybody else would think about in terms of your lifestyle. Take the vision thing apart of it. Think about what dog will fit your lifestyle well. And then you also need to make sure that you're connecting with the breeder. Like, I wouldn't recommend that you get a rescue dog or go outside of this. I would go to a breeder that is able to look at a litter of puppies and be able to match a dog to you that is going to be a well-suited fit with temperament, energy level, confidence, those types of things. Because picking a breed is one thing, picking the dog inside the breed is an entirely different thing. So I don't really want to say what breed, because it really
just depends on the dog.
There's so many things, but that would be I think the best advice that I would give you.
Yeah. We talked a little bit a moment ago about some of the things that you can do that will help you for your dog to understand that you're a great leader. So your dog to understand that you are someone who's worth listening to. And a massive part of that is your puppy training. Yeah. In fact, puppy training starts, again, the day they come home. Yeah. We have so many videos on the channel that show us, doing food luring.
Yeah, and teaching them how to follow food their first day home.
Loading value on words.
To
their name, on the word yes, which is something that we're going to
teaching them to go in their crate for treats.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the exercises, maybe for like over the span of the first couple of weeks. What are the training exercises that we're really focused on that we want the puppy to be, introduced to, that are going to set us up for success down the road?
First things first, I work on teaching them how to respond to their name and how to follow me, so that I have a way to, I don't necessarily work so much on a recall, although I guess I would start that, but I'm not expecting the dog to listen to it.
Restraint recalls, though.
That's where I was going with that. I'm doing games that have 100% success rate that are playing like word association. So hearing their name or hearing hear command or something, all while doing something fun. We have some great videos of our puppies doing restraint recalls up and down our hallway. So we do this with our puppies almost daily when they're really little. We shuttle the doors down our hallway. Ken goes to one end, I go to the other end with the puppy's breakfast or something, or sometimes just, some cheese. We'll just call the puppy back and forth between the two of us, and the puppy will get some treats, and we'll spin the puppy around and point it at the other person, and then we'll say, here, 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 and then call the puppy back and forth, so that the puppy's learning about coming up close to us, being happy to move in close to us, all word association. The other thing that I focus a lot on with training with in the early stages is anything to do with stationary self-control. So sit, holding a sit, learning to lie down, lying on a bed. And again, basic stuff. They're only doing it for a couple seconds. And they have training wheels on. Like, I'm feeding every little second. I'm making it so easy for them. But I want them to learn how to be calm and how to have self-control, because I know as my puppy starts to get older and more curious and more energetic, if my puppy knows how to do some of those things, it's going to make their listening a lot better. Learning about what rewards they like, tug, teaching them to drop things on command, all of that stuff, just getting them used to their leash. That's all the training that I would do in the first couple weeks.
21-time world champion. 21-time world champion dog trainer. She hates when I talk about it. 21-time worlds. I'm not even that good at something. She's the best in the world 21 times. This is the kind of advice you're getting in the train station. That's why I'm so excited to have you here. That's also why I love to toot. So talking about the next point, and this is a lot of people just have the biggest misconceptions about this: socialization. What does that mean for our puppies? What does that mean big picture? What should people be focused on with their puppies when we're talking about socialization? Because I'm telling you, whatever you think it is right now, you might be wrong.
Yep. So socialization, we also really like to use the word exposure because a lot of people associate socialization with puppies getting to play with other puppies. Right. And we actually don't do a whole lot of that while they're really young. Number one, you have to wait till they're vaccinated so that they're healthy and safe to go out into the world, into different places. So the vaccination part's important. But also, too, I really want to, build a good relationship with me. And I also want to learn a little bit about what kind of puppy do I have here? Do I have a puppy that could be a bit nervous? Do I have a puppy that's going to be really boisterous? And then I'm going to make sure that if I am going to let my dog interact with other dogs, that I'm matching them well with other dogs. So that's a very small piece. Really, the socialization that you want to do with young puppies is getting them out to different places and meeting different people, getting them on different footings, just getting them out and about, exposing the world. We try to take our puppies everywhere. Why?
With a bit of a limitation.
Yes,
of course.
Of course. Like we're setting them up, we're not letting them pull and drag us everywhere. But I've been going to dog shows again with my dogs now that COVID's there. 5 comes along to every single dog show, and when he's there, I bring him out on a leash and I let him meet people. And when I do that, he's learning to sit when people greet us. I'm not just letting him be crazy, or I'll hold him in my arms and make that, or I'll practice tugging with him where there's other dogs over there. So he's learning, okay, I'm seeing all this, but I'm playing and I'm focused on mom. So it's productive exposure and socialization, not just here, buddy, check this out, take the world in. I'm doing productive things at the same time as I'm exposing them to the outside world.
You mentioned something I think that's really important and definitely overlooked. It's something that we do in our puppy programs where we have, different surfaces out, like fake grass, as well as, a baby gate that's laid down on its side. Little things that will make your dog hardier. Is that the word I'm looking for? More confident?
Yeah, more confident.
More bomb-proof.
Yeah.
Really allows your dog to be more confident in more situations. Things like footing.
Yeah.
Going near the pond that has water spraying, in the center of it. These little things that you don't even think about.
I know we have a fake goose on the property, and we always take the puppies over to see it because they're all like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Or sounds so silly, but one of the things that I had a ton of fun with 5 when he was really little is we get a lot of Amazon boxes to the house sometimes, and so I would put a box and I would have him go in the box. Yeah. I actually opened the box on 2 sides and I taught him to run through the box like a tunnel, and sometimes he'd jump on the box and it would crash and I would go woo and make it a big fun thing, so that he just learned to shake himself off and not worry about that. I just want him to be a confident, happy, puppy that's not going to be too worried about those things. Or sometimes I would just take,
plastic bag,
yeah. Or knock the pot a couple times so that it would make some loud noises, and then I would throw food on the floor, just things to get him comfortable. When we go to vacuum, in the first couple times we do the vacuum, so one of us would be feeding him and letting him know. I actually posted a great video on Instagram.
I was just thinking about that with Euchre.
Yeah, with Euchre, because she wanted to attack the vacuum.
Yeah.
So working through those types of things, that's socialization and exposure.
That's the good
about
stuff, guys.
Making your puppy more worldly and confident, and a more worldly and confident puppy will be happier and also just more well-rounded
and want to listen, because they don't see greater value. Remember, with those other dogs, it's funny, we see the situations where people have gone out, they've introduced their dogs on leash to another dog, and it's gone horribly wrong. And then they have to come to us. And then they
have a dog that's so scared because they had a bad experience.
Yeah, or reacts every single time. Mm-hmm. The other thing to think about, especially when you have a puppy, is those puppies already speak the same language.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get your puppy to speak your language, understand you. Which one do you think they're going to choose when you're saying Scooter, 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 and he's just doing puppy burns around with the other puppy? You're watering down the value of Scooter's name. You're teaching your puppy that it doesn't matter really what I'm saying. You have more fun over there, because remember, in the absence of information, they're going to think whatever feels good is the right thing. Yeah. So socialization is not about introducing your dog to other dogs. It's about experience and exposure to other things in the world, because that's what's going to give you the confident dog that's going to allow you to go more places as they get older, to be in more situations. You've traveled all over the world with your dogs. I
was just in the Netherlands with B, and the Netherlands is not a lot more welcoming to dogs than Ontario is here, she came to cafes with me and she laid calmly at my feet while I, had lunch, and they just learned to be able to go places. And because they're well trained and they're behaving and they're not bugging other people, but they learn to, not be worried about the loud noises or those different things if you're exposing them to those things early, but making them good experiences. That's really important. It's not just do it, it's how you do it that will embellish this in the right way.
Now, we are deep into overtime here. We need to eat our dinner, and I'm excited. I've noticed a couple of people are going to be joining us
Having a very late dinner.
For Puppy Essentials.
Yes.
We're going to see you guys on Monday for the call. If that's something you're interested in, if you'd like some personalized help that's specific to you and your puppy training situation, I think our moderators have dropped links in the chat, but there's also a link in the description below. You can check out our Puppy Essentials program. We'd be excited to see you and meet you. We hope these 7 things that every puppy owner needs to know, your puppy owner's guide, has helped you to set you up to be successful, because this is honestly the stuff that I wish I had before I needed dog training. Like, these are the tips that I know would have changed the course of my life. Absolutely. So with that said, with all of the teaching, all of the training, all of the things that we've talked about tonight, the rest, my friends, well, that is up to you.
We do these live streams to educate you, but more importantly, to motivate you. You can have the dog that you've always wanted, but it's just going to take you a little bit of work.
I would know, because I was just like you. Long before I became a dog trainer, I was a frustrated dog owner, but the skills that I learned at McCann's changed my life. Now, we have hundreds of videos here on our YouTube channel to help you to have a well-behaved, 4-legged family member.
But if you want someone to guide you through the dog training process, then you should check out our Puppy Essentials program for puppies under 6 months. If your dog is over 6 months, then you could join our Life Skills program, and our instructors are going to help to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible in a really supportive environment.
Now, all of the knowledge about dog training in the world won't help you to be successful unless you get up and you start training. The real question is, what are you going to train next?
Happy training.